Hey everyone, I'm Rebecca Flaherty and today we're going to be making this retro ombre diamond geometric pattern in Procreate. We all love our geometric patterns here and this is one of my favourites. It looks so fancy and it would make a perfect wallpaper design. This one is definitely more of an intermediate to advanced level pattern just because there's a lot more layers and snapping to get right. And yes, this could be done a lot easier in Affinity or Illustrator, but if Procreate is all you have, you don't have to miss out on making intricate geometric designs. The colour palette is available in the Pattern Maker's Toolkit, and I've included the canvas size details and all the individual measurements in the description. Let's get started. So the same as we've done in the last few tutorials, we're going to start by hiding the background colour. I'm in a 3600 pixel canvas at 300 dpi, and I'm going to fill this first layer with white. Then we're going to tap transform. I've got bilinear as my interpolation method here. I'm going to rotate 45 degrees and fit to canvas, then tap off it and back on it again. Then we're going to tap on this node here, unlink the ratio, and I'm going to make this 2600 pixels wide, and then center that on the canvas there like that. We're going to duplicate this layer now. I'm going to invert the color on this because we're using it to cut out other shapes. So just so I can tell the difference between the two, I'm going to tap transform and I want the width of this to be 2400. And then I'm going to center this on the canvas like that. What I'm going to do is hide the one underneath just to make sure that this is definitely centered. Hide the one on top and then just make sure that this one is definitely centered. There we go. So that one is completely centered over the top of that one. What I'm going to do now is select this layer. So tap there and select. Then tap onto this white layer. You can hide this one. Tap transform and just drag that inside diamond off the canvas there. So you should have an empty diamond there. Now above we're going to add a layer and fill this one as well. And let's bring down the opacity on this. Maybe invert the colours so we can see what's what. Tap transform, tap on the node, and we want this to be 400 pixels high. And that one can stay up there at the top like that. Then what we're going to do is keep duplicating this one and moving it down. So let's duplicate this one here, tap transform and snap it to the bottom of that box. Then move the box down so it's snapped to the top of this diamond. Then we duplicate that bottom one again and bring it down to the bottom of the box. Then we move the box to the top of that diamond and just keep shuffling these down, duplicating each time. And then last of all, you should just have that little itty bitty diamond there at the bottom. Now what I want you to do is pinch all of these spare ones onto one layer. So all of the bits that have ones cut off. So you want to hide your initial one, and then all of these will be pinched onto one layer. And then you've got that underneath. We can hide these and get rid of those now. And what we're going to do is on this layer here, grab your eraser, and we're just going to erase everything on this layer that comes out past the outline of that first diamond. So there's all that gone. And then on this one, do the same again. Being really careful not to go in too far and erase that like that. And then these two layers can be merged together. What we're going to do now is crop the canvas down a little bit. So tap on your canvas actions and crop and resize. And I want to take the canvas into 100 pixels in from the edges of this diamond. So go to settings and make the width 2500 because the width of this diamond was 2600. And then change the height to 3500. Tap done, turn on snapping, and then center this on the canvas there like that. And then you should have a diamond that's cropped off at the edges there. What we're going to do now is add some colour to this. So let's add a layer above, bring it underneath, and we'll tap and make this a reference layer. Then on your layer underneath, we're just going to fill it with these colours here. I've put 3 palettes together. You can use whichever one you like. There should be hopefully enough squares to fill each one of these. I'm gonna go with this orange one. So I'm gonna bring these in and drop that on there. I need to do this all in one go without talking, because every time I try and do this with talking I lose count of which square I'm on. So I'm gonna be silent for a moment. Done. So that's all the colours on that layer underneath filled in now. And one thing that I'm going to do just to add a little cool little touch to this is on this layer here, I'm going to add a layer above, change the blend mode to colour burn and about 50% and clip it down on this layer. Then I'm going to grab a 50% grey, so double tap here, and I've just got the soft airbrush here, and I'm just going to put a little bit of darker tinge just on the edge of this one and the edge of there, so you can see that comes out a little bit darker there. And now we're ready to start building out this pattern tile. So I'm going to swipe down with 3 fingers and copy all, come up to the top here and paste. So I've got that all flattened and I can group those and move those out the way. I'll put the background colour back on now. I'm going to duplicate this layer, tap transform, snap this up and over to the right, and you can see the gap there between this tile and that one is about the same width as the diagonal lines, and that's because we cropped that in to smaller than the size of the diamond. If we'd made this canvas the same width and height as the original diamond, that would be a lot bigger, that gap there. So that's what that cropping that in was for. So we've got all the lines mostly fairly even. And then we're just going to duplicate this all around the edges there like that. And then that's our pattern tile, and we can see how it's looking in repeat now. So let's bring this up there. And you can see how cool this looks. I love the kind of dimensional effect of this that we've got, both by using the ombre gradient, but by putting that colour burn shading on there as well. So let's make this one step smaller. And that's how that pattern is looking in repeat. And if I go out into my gallery, I can show you examples of how this looks with the other colours. So this is the red palette there. And then on this one here, this one has got an example of how this blue one comes out. You can grab the colour palette I've used today from the Pattern Maker's Toolkit if you want to follow along. And if you love this kind of pattern making, check out my Skillshare class for more geometric Procreate goodness. 3-month link in the description. Don't forget to subscribe for more tutorials every week. Have fun, stay creative, and I will see you soon.